Chef, what up? CMP, what up? Masons think they add up with they tack down tassels. Watch me send you rope to Albion in a lasso. Caucasoid hybrid, sun burns the eyelids. To the human fam, we created a virus. Some help to build, but most destroy our future through melanin girls and melanin boys. Fast food, television, miseducation. Missed the history, stole the rights from our nation. National appellation, not in all capitals. Tribes of nobles and noblesse with woven crests. Fezzes and sashes, shawls and vests. On Ashkenazi Jews, I put an alpha hex, omega the rest, without a bloody mess. Left dead in some Nikes like David Koresh. Burn out your temple with myrrh and frankincense. To work a ritual, it's all about intent and invent. Melanin, the magic dust, trust me. I shade to all Okunan while all Orishas love me, trust me. Black candles, we got red ones too. When lit, would have you think this is deja vu? With no Denzel, cause Washington won the Grammy. He doesn't even know Washita is his granny. Could've sniped Wesley, but went for tax evasion. Moors and courts facing these judge masons. Give back your rituals and your Babylon ways. Give back your holy books, call me rebellious slave. Give back history, there's more than truth in mind. Give back your crucifix, hanging tree boots and swine. Give back your rituals and your Babylon ways. Give back your holy books, call me rebellious slave. Give back history, there's more than truth in mind. Give back your crucifix, hanging tree boots and swine. Coming to you from the blackness in peyote teepees. Not the head rush from ice or sucking freezies. You could choose to research, don't believe me. Key of life songs cause inner visions and wonders like Stevie. Walk through the world under, your mind flows like tundra soil. Hit you like Shango when my blood's on boil. Come as Pata'Allah or Batala. With one eye for sight, I could see from afar. Mermaids and mermen cry for tadpoles and jaws. Trying to get the serious, they call it mission to Mars. To get you not looking, distract attention. Not to mention, but they have your brains in a lasso and your pineal gland tattooed. With designs calcified, my height is amplified to levels so deep, my flow is amphibious style. Leaving clansmen bloody in a hideous pile. Not like King Leonidas and Spartan saying 300 took out our legion of Ra. You must be frontin' like European pharaohs before the 18th dynasty. Coming and killing me and saying they nasty. One golden flyer war so you can't catch me. Had to jack your beat cause the shit's catchy. Sometime at fake crews my face screwed like little Scrappy. And at the piggies with the scanners trying to speed trap me. Cause I'm reppin' blue bloods wanna cap me. I told you, boys in blue thinking I'm a Crip soldier. Give back your rituals and your Babylon ways. Give back your holy books, call me rebellious slave. Give back history, there's more than truth in mind. Give back your crucifix, hanging tree boots and swine. Give back your rituals and your Babylon ways. Give back your holy books, call me rebellious slave. Give back history, there's more than truth in mind. Give back your crucifix, hanging tree boots and swine. On the real. All you fake Moors know the deal. Yo, Redkin, what up? That's how we do it. Give back your rituals and your Babylon ways. Call me rebellious slave.
Let me suggest to you this, and everyone, please keep this in mind. This is your civic responsibility. Because one of the things that we're doing is teaching our people to be better citizens. Being part and parcel of this said government, we ought to live the life accordingly. We are enforcing the law. We are not violating law. You must understand that. And so we are teaching you the jurisprudence that governs those civic affairs. Some of it you're familiar with, some of it you're not. The damage has been that you have been assuming that people who have been governing are legitimate. And so you've looked at yourself from a subordinate position. No, we are the government. They are servants. They've been racketeering for quite some time, and we have every intention to bring it to a screeching halt. But we can't unless we or you, the people, decide that you want to stop being niggers.
Artist, yo, my principles, that's how I was dead, right? MK Ultra, King Alfred, or X84. Once all melanites behind cage doors, in front the idiot box, drinking calls, watching sports. At the picnic, first in line for porks. Can't find your mind, some say that it's lost. Moorish science says divine souls got tossed, abandoned. Love is my ammo, peace is the cannon. Truth is the ayahuasca talking to the shaman. Freedom is the freedom, justice I must get. Tears fall like those shot with the pilgrim's muskets. The ruckus I bring, but this ain't Wu-Tang. Hold you accountable, Shimitar takes your two hands. Sent up the frankincense from Sudan. Big up to my elder and the god Moses holding up Muban. Rainbow flag rapping Fruity Loop toucans. Same company got cola in two cans. Different labels, you're navigating L is your navel. Matriarch rules, watch the goddess not cable. My property, now the rights of the archives papal. Ex-knights now sheiks of the round table. Ancients return to reclaim and learn how to not to succumb to the combustion burn. Astral projecting, as above so below. So you know off the cosmos we're reflecting. Yo bro, laws of nature, make the sun hate you. Hybrid caucasoid, I'm all pro but not rapanoid. My deep mob, make devil's horns kebab. Don't get my Islam twisted with jihad. Don't get the Muslim mixed up with Muslims. Don't mistake the Mufti force for hoodlums. We giving back Islam and his story. Taking my story, creating a myth-story. That's what's hidden. It's now called Satanism. Men thinking they're wise, but they lack wisdom. Need I say more? In my proper person, I got judges tearing up the bonds and cursing. I self-law a master. No need for times. We got the feds. Rituals make them roll down the steps like the Aztec heads. I self-law a master. No guns, let Bobby whirlwind blast ya. No need for times. We got the feds. Rituals make them roll down steps like Aztec heads. Most say they're ready for consciousness, I doubt it. Application is the path, but some reroute it. The most I can say is, we'll see about it. Mother Nature sets fires and they can't out it. They take oaths, I know the truth, but they can't shout it. I plant the seed in your mind, got the highest sprouting. Just like Jack's beans, roll a stalk of sensi seed. Empty ashtray, hanging from the loose kente. Bobo beating on the djembe, calling Orishas. Or hailing Goddess Manan or the Negus. Red, black, green candles, golden flame. Make you think so much and end up with a swollen brain. Cause even she can see that he's in create her. The point creatress is the only creator. I self-law a master. My son now run, my birthright's a sovereign. Got the macabre around me revolving. X-Alpha or David Starr, I'm shooting at your squadron. Illuminate my higher self, see from afar. I'm so against jail, I can't rhyme in bars. I self-law a master. No guns, let Garvey whirlwind blast ya. No need for times, we got the feds. Rituals make them roll down the steps like the Aztec heads. I self-law a master. No guns, let Garvey whirlwind blast ya. No need for times, we got the feds. Rituals make them roll down steps like Aztec heads. 5 on the left, 2 on the right. Artist Union. Conscious. Artist Union. I self-law a master. Whirlwind blast ya. We got the feds. Aztec heads.
Common sense was made before book sense. Canaanland Moors presents Common Sense Quick.
Legendary, bury me in the North Gates Cemetery, February the 4th days. Son of Mary, day ahead of my born day. Independence and law makes it a little of a lost case. With case laws, we break them down like Jericho. Keeping all my lions tamed, I'm Chris Jericho. Or keep a mask on deck, I'm Rey Mysterio. Fake pandemics announced over the radio. Annoyed with the game, the joys and the pains. I'm Rob Bass, mixing with rock the hard way. I was in a lost state. Prophets told me up right, brought me to a lost gate.
Common sense was made before book sense. Canaanland Moors presents Common Sense Quick.
Legendary, bury me in the North Gates Cemetery, February the 4th days. Son of Mary, day ahead of my born day. Independence and law makes it a little of a lost case. With case laws, we break them down like Jericho. Keeping all my lions tamed, I'm Chris Jericho. Or keep a mask on deck, I'm Rey Mysterio. Fake pandemics announced over the radio. Annoyed with the game, the joys and the pains. I'm Rob Bass, mixing with rock the hard way. I was in a lost state. Prophets stood me up right, brought me to a lost gate. Cooking like I'm Salt Bay, prepping like I'm Denzel. Malcolm X, Deja Vu, Roman J. Israel. Had no but I lay in plain sight, but people still can't see it. So the snake's still showing up, stakes still high, so the race still going up. Warriors of the North Gate, we not slowing up. Born in the manger, sworn to be savior. Walk through the valley of the shadows of the death grip of slavery. Looking for life, the book of Genesis. Astroplane entrances, invoke the nemesis. Abstract images of past lives kicking in. Danger, running for your life, finish him.
Moorish Omar, key man or oracle, using Trinity powers, decipher allegorical, lost in metaphorical, holy books are metaphysic, fact slap a dirty more or a Drew Ali critic, calling him Thomas or Walter and get your face caved, or cut like a close shave, drowned in my brain waves, squashed by heat waves, activating Kundalini, Abyssinia invaded by Mussolini, Selassie I in exile, reptile in Genesis, niggas appearing real, all I see is false evidence, they are feminists, stomped on by elephants, won't let go prejudice but want Moorish benefits, when you feel the pull magnetic resonance, apis horns of the sacred bull called Maleficent, great cosmic mothers, return to blessedness, no pestilence, ace all the testaments, tap into remembrance, never to forget again, use energy right, not put spell effects on men, wandering the earth plane with no they live shades, keeps you a mental slave as the horizon fades, it's been decades since Christian crusades, not enough rebellions, too many vigil bouquets, holding on to the fence, burning on doomsday, war ruled by Mars, it might be on a Tuesday.
Canaanland Moors presents Common Sense Quick. What we do here is we add some common sense thinking to everyday situations or comments that may arise. Want to give it a try?
Bet they won't. I bet you. They wouldn't dare try with the Moors. A little propaganda campaign and do whatever. But the Moors is where it's at. Not just today, also historically. And there's two sides. You're either on the side of the Moors or you're on the side of the Europeans. That's it. That's the only options. There are no more options. You're either on the side of the Moors or you're on the side of the colonizer. That's just where it is. And keep in mind, we know that there's Europeans who know what's up. So we know we're not tripping. We know that they know that we know that they know they're not white. They got a nationality like everybody else on the planet. They're not white people. They have nationalities. And their nationalities come out of us. Because we made them. Made. We made them. They're here because of us. But we dropped the ball. We dropped the ball because we have an obligation to uplift fallen humanity. And whatever you want to say or whatever, the European's part of the family. You get mad. You could whatever you want. But if you're the founders of civilizations and there's stuff saying that you're not just the founder of civilizations, but you're also God on earth. You think these Europeans don't know who created them? You think they don't know what they have to get back to? Why they don't even want to get with their own? They want to find an Asiatic? So Moors are the foundation, the dark-skinned, nappy-headed, African descendant people. So we want to remind you again. about dirt. Terence McLaughlin, the Don't get mad at Moors. You know, we're racist and all this stuff, anti. No. It's just your stuff that you thought nobody's ever going to find out about. And put it on the record again that because of the Moors is why we have everything that we have right now. But everybody else was playing some type of BS, the ones who held it together and carried it all around the world. So today, everybody knows what's up, those who want to know. And the incompetent people are just going to keep playing their little game. Right? Because the Europeans' problem is that they want sovereignty, but you're not in Europe. So you can't have sovereignty in America. That's why they're treating you like a ward. You thought it was just a black minority thing. Oh no, you're about to get it too. Because you thought you had some white superiority, whatever. No, you don't. They're putting their own in the camps. They're giving their own vaccines. So what do you think they're going to do to you? What do you really think they're going to do to you if they... And remember, we're letting you know, this is where their mindset comes from. This is why they're how they are. You can't get mad at the victim for stabbing everybody in the school or whatever because everybody was teasing them all year. You can't get mad. How come nobody reached out to that killer? Say, hey, killer guy, slow down a little bit. He had to be giving off stuff. She had to be giving off something for somebody to say, hey, she needs to check on her or whatever. Parents, nobody? So this is our warped child that we created. This is our baby came out. I'm like, whoa, what's that? What is that? And then you put it in the trash can, you thought that it was dead. No, it wasn't. Crawled out the trash can, now it's giving you everything that you gave to it. Because you're playing games. So if you want to talk about, rights and talk about equality and gays being able to be gay and all that type of stuff like that, then, okay, let's go back to the origin. Not just going to start there. We might as well go back and see what the hell leads us to this place right now where if you don't have your head on straight, you're done for. Right? So don't get mad. Realize what you did. Right? Which is why we had to come back, which we'll go into some of that, in order to civilize these heathens. Because obviously what was left for you, there's no way you're going to end up like this after what was left for you, after what your so-called forefathers taught and all that. How you in this place? How you get here? Right? And then on our side, the same thing to us. How do you get here? How are you the nigger? Ancestor came back today like, what the hell happened? Hey, what happened to the pyramids and stuff that we left here and all that? What you mean? What do you mean colonization? What are you talking about? What colonized what? I don't understand what you're talking about. Where's everything that we had? Everything that we left for you, where's that stuff at? Oh, can't be found? Oh, you're going to blame some colonists? Okay, let's see if it's really them. Let's see if they're really to blame. You're going to blame the retarded child? You're going to blame them? You're going to blame the cripple? That's what you're going to do? So you don't want to face your own responsibilities or whatever, so you're going to blame a cripple. That's not fair. Right? People's feelings might get hurt, but you know, there's nothing personal. We're just saying, check your facts. The condition of the working class in England, 1844. It is a disorderly collection of tall 3 or 4 storied houses with narrow, crooked, filthy streets in which there is quite as much life as in the great thoroughfares of the town, except that here people of the working class only are to be seen. The vegetable market is held in the street. Baskets with vegetables and fruits, naturally all bad and hardly fit to use, obstruct the sidewalk still further. And from these, as well as from the fish dealers' stalls, arises a horrible smell. The houses are occupied from cellar to garret, filthy within and without, and their appearance is such that no human being could possibly wish to live in them. But all this is nothing in comparison with the dwellings in the narrow courts and alleys between the streets, entered by covered passages between the houses, in which the filth is tottering, ruins surpass all description. Scarcely a whole window pane can be found. The walls are crumbling, doorposts and window frames loose and broken, doors of old boards nailed together, or altogether wanting in this thieves' quarter, where no doors are needed, there being nothing to steal. Heaps of garbage and ashes lie in all directions, and the foul liquids emptied before the doors gather in stinking pools. There live the poorest of the poor, the worst paid workers, with thieves and the victims of prostitution, indiscriminately huddled together. You sound familiar? Does it sound familiar? That they played you out of your position in the world? Because we want to be black, Negro, colored, and all this other stuff? Instead of being who our ancient forefathers, because this is who their ancient forefathers and forefathers were. They didn't tell you about this. They tell you about sailing the ocean blue and discovering and all this stuff like that. They're not telling you about this part. Which again goes to the point, since it's going to be February, Black History Month and all that BS, we're starting our Correcting Black History Month today. We'll start it today. Correcting Black History Month. Still. Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. Still. Don't even realize that they transferred their entire history to you. Now you're, as our people, now you're living their history. And thinking that that's where it's at. Not realizing about nationality. Here live the poorest of the poor, the worst paid workers, with thieves and the victims of prostitution, indiscriminately huddled together. The majority Irish or of Irish extraction, and those who have not yet sunk in the whirlpool of moral ruin which surrounds them, sinking daily deeper, losing daily more and more of their power to resist the demoralizing influence of want, filth, and evil doings. They're worried about some Salem witches or whatever? They're worried about some Salem witches. They're worried about the thieves and the cutthroats. That's all. You volunteered to be them, and then they just started being you, and you got stuck being them. Now your life is theirs. It's mirror magic. They know what they're doing. These people are high occultists. They're not some cracker and all that stuff running in the capital. People are occultists. Everything they do is dark arts. As Moors, we know this. That's why we don't play in their games about them defining something. You know, you don't find nothing, you're a foreigner. You don't have definition powers in the Americas. You might have that stuff over there in Africa, Berlin Conference and stuff like that. But you ain't got treaty of what with Spanish what? What are you talking about? Because we know that we're the Aboriginal indigenous people here and we've been here. We didn't just get here yesterday. And again, with Drew Ali telling us that our flag's 50,000 years, nobody has any say anywhere on the planet. Who's been around here longer than 50,000 years other than us? Who else? Who's pulling up? We have the dark-skinned guy with the Chinese eyes that we could say that, okay, he's the origin of those people. We have the dark-skinned people with the straight hair that we say, okay, well, our people are the origin of those people. We have every demographic covered. As Moors, though, as Aboriginal and Indigenous, not as Negro, Black, and all this stuff. Because once you say that, this is where you put yourself. Black, pale, the life of the pale people. The life of the pale people in Europe is Black history. The pale people in Europe, they have a history. It's documented right here. Don't come at the Moors. Go debate Terence P. McLaughlin. And then he has the MC there. And then you could just read David McRitchie, which tells you that the MC goes back to Moors. Ancient and Modern Britons, David McRitchie, he'll verify that. And also, J.A. Rogers would verify that in Nature Knows No Color Line. That the MC goes back to the Moors, and then all this stuff is about when the Moors weren't around. When they had an opportunity to fend for themselves. To be people. We're gonna try you out over here, see what you could do. Say you want to be human and all this. We're all right. Here's a little spot for you over there. Let's see how you do over there. Couldn't take it. Too much now. In contrast, right? Now look how big the difference is. So John G. Jackson, Introduction to African Civilizations. Right? Introduction to African Civilizations. Right? Introduction to African Civilizations. The conquest of Spain was an African conquest. There were Mohammedan Africans, not Arabs, who laid low the Gothic kingdom of Spain. Mohammedan Africans. After overrunning the Iberian Peninsula, the Moorish invaders pushed on through France, where they were repulsed with heavy losses at Poitiers by the Franks under Charles Martel. After this setback, they retired into Spain and laid the foundations of a new civilization. The country, which incalculably enriched by their labors, they, for instance, introduced the silk industry to Spain. In the field of agriculture, they were highly skilled and introduced rice, sugarcane, dates, ginger, cotton, lemons, and strawberries into the country. Ibn al-Awam and Abu Zakaria wrote learned works on agriculture and husbandry. A translation of a treatise on agriculture was published in Spain as late as 1802 for the instruction of Spanish farmers. Ibn Khaldun, another Moorish expert in agriculture, wrote a valuable treatise on farming and worked out a theory of prices and the nature of capital. Besides, see why Jolly said the gold, the silver, and the commerce belong to the citizens alone? Because you founded everything. Everything in existence, Moors, you founded it. The good and the bad. Deal with your issues. Besides being scientific agriculturists, the Moors, not the African Moors or the Mohammedan Moors or the Moors, were engineers of no mean ability. The Caliph Abdurrahman III had an aqueduct constructed which conveyed water from the mountains to Cordova through lead pipes. Modern Spanish retains only a fragment of the fine irrigation system built by Moorish engineers, who also erected large underground silos for the storage of grain in case of emergency. The main wealth of the land was not neglected, for gold, silver, copper, quicksilver, tin, lead, iron, and alum were mined on a large scale. Up to the 25th century, the maritime commerce of the Saracens on the Mediterranean was greater than that of the Christians. Up to the 12th century, the maritime commerce of the Saracens on the Mediterranean was greater than that of the Christians. Hundreds of ships were engaged in it, and this widespread trade naturally stimulated manufacturing. The sword blades of Toledo were the most excellent and beautiful in all Europe, and a factory near Cordova had an output of 12,000 shields per year. Murcia became famous for the manufacture of all kinds of brass and iron instruments. The tanneries of Cordova and Morocco were the best in the world. Almeria produced sashes, famed far and wide for the bright colors and fine texture. Carpets were made in Tallulah, and bright-hued woolens came from Baza and Granada. And then, Granada, Grenada. The Moors also produced fine glass and pottery vases, mosaics and jewelry. Cordoba in the 10th century was very much like a modern city. Cordoba in the 12th century was very much like a modern city. The streets were well paved, and there were raised sidewalks for pedestrians. Now, where you want to be at? Where you want to be at? Disorderly collection of tall 3 to 4 storied houses with narrow, crooked, filthy streets in which there is quite as much life as the great thoroughfares of the town, except there people are in the working class are only to be seen. The vegetable market is held in the street basket with vegetables and fruits naturally all bad, hardly fit to use, obstructing the sidewalk, and from these, as well as the fish dealer stalls with the horrible smell. Which one do you want? Which one you riding with? You riding with the Moors or you riding with the Europeans? Because that's your only options. That's the only options. You don't have any other options. Because you played games all these years. You want to be whatever you want. All right. Whatever. Play your game. But when it's time to say who you are you? Are you modern European or are you a Moor? Because everything else is stateless. Everything else is stateless. And everybody else in the world is riding on their Moors. And all your little entertainer, athlete, whoever people are telling you that, yeah, we're Moors. Noble Drew Ali and all that. You think they don't got it? They're trying to tell you, you better get on this info. Hear what these Moors are saying. Like we say, Phil Valentine L came here and told the people at the lecture here, hey, you see those Moors over there? Those Moors over there with their books and stuff like that? Go over there and support those Moors. Don't even support anybody else. Because the Moors are the only ones who are going to be able to help you out with whatever it is that you're dealing with that you think you can't deal with. But they don't ride with Phil Valentine L. They don't ride with him. They just want to play metaphysical games. If they ride with him, how come they're not L or Bay or whatever? Right? Just like these people don't ride with Khalid Muhammad. He said, I'm a Moor. You tell half these Black Panther people they're Moors, they're telling you nah. And then you tell them, okay, well, let's sue or something. They want to come at Shaka Zulu. Shaka Zulu is suing you or whatever, but they got Jeff Smith on a license that they're using as identification for the suit. Which one you riding with? Because it's on the people now. All your leaders sold you out. So now it's on you. There's no leader coming out. Anybody who comes out works for them. So you don't have choices like that. And we're just letting you know because we're on the other side. We're on the other side of the rope with the VIP. We're waiting for you so we can overpower these people. Not in a physical sense. But once we unify as one nationality, the nationality that we say we should unify under is Moorish. Because that's broad and encompassing, and it puts the point in the forefront. That we're not your colorable whatever. We made you people. You people were living in filth before the Moors. So you can't come now because, you know what I mean, you're in the White House and you're in the Parliament and you're in the all, like as if. No, that's somebody's seat that you're in. But again, you know, stuff sounds good until our people wake up. And that's what President told Noble Drew Ali about putting a pair of pants on a horse. That yes, even if you get a pair of pants on a horse, what are you really going to be able to do with that horse wearing pants? Like, you can't do nothing with a horse wearing pants. The nigger leaders led us to being horse with pants on. I don't know how come we can't run. Why aren't we winning? Straight Mr. Ed. Right? So you have to ask yourself, where do you want to be? Because right now, this is what it's looking like. It's looking like this is the times of dirt. When it was the Dark Ages. And they're waiting for the heroes. They're waiting for the Moors. But the Moors want to be Negro, black, colored people. The Moors have all this knowledge and all this power, but they want to be African. They want to be everything except what their ancient foremothers and forefathers were, who civilized the world. Hearing what the Moors were doing, you know, what the Moors brought them out of. In one part of Market Street, this is Dr. Laurie, who commented in 1842. So talk to Dr. Laurie. Don't talk about the Moors did something. In one part of Market Street is a dunghill, yet it is too large to be called a dunghill. I do not mistake its size when I say it contains 100 cubic yards of impure filth, collected from all parts of the town. It is never removed. It is the stock in trade of a person who deals in dung. He retails it by cartfuls. To please his customers, he always keeps a nucleus, as the older the filth is, the higher the price. The proprietor has an extensive privy attached to the concern. This collection is fronting the public street. It is enclosed in front by a wall. The height of the wall is almost 12 feet. The dung overlaps it. The malarious moisture oozes through the wall and runs over the pavement. The effluvia all around this place in summer is horrible. There is a land of houses adjoining 4 stories in height, and in the summer each house swarms with myriads of flies. Every article of food and drink must be covered, otherwise, if left exposure for a minute, the flies immediately attack it, and it is rendered unfit for use from the strong taste of the dunghill left by the flies. Right. That's you want that? Or you want what your foremothers and forefathers brought? Huh? What do you want? Toledo, Seville, and Granada were rivals of Cordova in respect to magnificence. Education was universal in Muslim Spain, being given to the most humble, while in Christian Europe 99% of the people were illiterate, and even kings could neither read nor write. The Moorish rulers lived in sumptuous palaces, while the monarchs of Germany, France, and England dwelt in big barns, with no windows and no chimneys, and which only a hole in the roof for the exit of smoke. But the middle of the 10th century, a small group of Germans conducted a monk on the court of Abdul Rahman III, Caliph of Cordoba. The monk delivered a letter to the Caliph, which had been sent to him by Emperor Otto the Great of the Holy Roman Empire. The wonders of Cordova and the scenic beauties of its suburbs and the Andalusian countryside must have made the German travelers rub their eyes in bewilderment, for they surely thought that they had been bewitched and transported by some enchanter to a fairyland. A vivid reconstruction of the splendors of Moorish Spain as seen by the monk and his companions has been preserved for us by a recognized authority on the history of the period. The Germans would find Andalusia in those days a real garden of song and flowers and gaiety. It had tens of thousands of prosperous villages, and the Germans would for the first time in their lives see peaches, pomegranates, strawberries, apricots, lemons, almonds, dates, oranges, and sugarcane growing. While at the hostels they would find coffee, spinach, asparagus, and the daintiest cooking, and all the spices of the East. Not an acre of ground was left untilled, and tunnels cut through mountains, aqueducts, dams, and reservoirs provided ample irrigation wherever it was needed. The land bore a larger population than it does today, probably larger than that of Germany, France, England, and Italy put together at that time, and an immeasurably happier and more prosperous population. Where you want to be at? Where you want to be at? You want to be where the Moors are at, or you want to be where the modern Europeans are? We're saying as a people, we have two options right now. Right now. European comes on the thing right now, TV. Special announcement, special announcement. All right, here's what. We're reading the prophecy books and stuff like that, and basically, it all comes down to what the black people say. So are we going to go with European lifestyle, or are we going to go with Moorish lifestyle? That's your two options. And that is going to be where we go for the next 2,600 years before the next shift. What are you picking? Now, if you're going to debate, are we Moorish and all that stuff and whatever like that, then stuff's over right now. Been over. But you know, you want to hear what Moors are saying? You want to listen to the European? All right, let's go listen to the European then. What the Europeans saying? Let's see what they have to say Remember, this is not Moors. Don't get mad at Moors. We didn't say anything. We're just reading a book because we like to read. This book just happened to show up in the mail. Back to dirt. It is indeed a monstrous state of things, enjoyment the most absolute, that bodily ease, intellectual excitement, or the more innocent pleasures of sense can supply to a man's cravings brought in close contact with the most unmitigated misery. Wealth, from its bright saloons, laughing an innocently heedless laugh at the unknown wounds of want. Pleasure, cruelly but unconsciously mocking the pain that moans below. But let all men remember this, that within the most courtly precincts of the richest city of God's earth, there may be found night after night, winter after winter, women, young in years, old in sin and suffering, outcasts from society, rotting from famine, filth, and disease. Let them remember this, and learn not to theorize, but act. God knows there is much room for action nowadays. They're making their plea to the people to not be passive. Somebody tell you that you're supposed to be active? Did somebody else tell you you're supposed to be active? It is when the infant enters upon breathing existence, and when the man has ceased to breathe, at the moment of birth and at the hour of death, that he is really well washed. How often do the drawers wash their bodies? Landshire replied, none of the drawers does wash their bodies. I never wash my body. I let my shirt rub the dirt off. My shirt will show that. I wash my neck and ears and face, of course. This was evidence offered during an inquiry which led to the Coal Miners Regulation Act of 1842. Colliers had a traditional belief that water was weakening, and even in this century avoiding soaking their backs in hot water. But one can imagine the shirt that had rubbed the dirt off a drawer. The man engaged in manhandling coal rubs to the pit shaft. Women and children also did this work. The same Collier, to the further question, do you think it is usual for the young woman to do the same as you do? He replied, I don't think it as usual for the lasses to wash their bodies. My sister never washes themselves, and seeing is believing. They wash their faces and necks and ears. Which one are you riding with? You got to pick. Are you riding with the Moors, or are you riding with the modern European way of life? Which one do you want? Which one? Where they did manage to wash, the women were unlikely to have any privacy in the crowded houses, and mostly adopted an attitude of indifference to modesty, which was inevitable in the circumstances, but greatly shocked the Victorian investigators. Edward Newman, solicitor of Barnsley, reported on the mining community. At Silkstone, there are a great many girls who work in the pits, and I have seen them washing themselves naked much below the waist as I pass their doors. And whilst they are doing this, they will be talking and chatting with any man who happened to be there with the utmost concern. and young men and old would be washing in the same place at the same time. In Snow's Rents in Westminster, there was a near riot when the one pipe that supplied 16 houses was turned on for only 5 minutes one Sunday, despite the fact that Sunday was the favored washing day. Yet the Reverend Whitwell Elwin, chaplain to the Bath Union, could say smugly, "With the poor far less obstacles are an absolute barrier to cleanliness, because no privation is felt by them so little as to that of cleanliness. The propensity to dirt is so strong, the steps so few and easy, that nothing but the utmost faculties for water can act as its counterpoise. And such is the love of uncleanliness, when once contracted, that no habit, not even drunkenness, is so difficult to eradicate." This is again why, which side are you picking? Because the other option, once again, right, the other option, in Cordoba, the old packed Cordoba, they would find a city of 250,000 houses and 1 million people when no city in Europe outside Moorish Spain had a population of 30,000. Its massive walls had a circuit of 14 miles and had 7 large iron gates faced with brass. Its streets were paved so soundly indeed that in some of them you tread the same stones today. Just as you cross the Guadalquivir on the same noble bridge, drained by large sewers, flushed with water from the many fountains which sparkled in the sun, and lit by lamps at night, it had 4,500 shops, besides 4,300 markets, and in these you could buy amber from the Baltic, Russian furs, Chinese tea, Indian spices, African ebony and ivory, and such products in leather, metal, silk, glass, and pottery, and could not be found elsewhere. It had 900 public baths. We are told that a poor Arab would go without bread rather than soap, and more than 1,000 mosques, the largest of which is still one of the architectural wonders of the world in spite of latter Spanish disfigurement. We are told that a poor Arab would go without bread rather than soap. Bread. Shower or eat? Shower all day. Just fill the tub up. We'll get through this, hunger. We'll get through this. Give me that soap. Doing nothing with bread. That bread's done in 2 hours. Bread and water. Its low scarlet and gold roof supported 1,000 columns of marble, jasper, and porphyry, was lit by thousands of brass and silver lamps, which burned perfumed oil, the largest being 38 feet in circumference, containing 46,000 silver plates for reflecting the light. The exquisite prayer chamber, mihrab, the unique pulpit, and the caliph's private collection with floors of silver and gold-plated doors completed this wonderful monument of opulence and art. some 5 miles along the broad road which led to it from the city, they would enter the most wonderful garden or park in the world. Engineers who had a skill that was unequaled until modern times so directed its water supply that there were lakes, cascades, and superb fountains on every side, while every flower and shrub that would grow in Andalusia had been brought from the ends of the earth. At the farther side of it were the 400 white mansions of officials, visiting merchants, and distinguished travelers, and above the waving palms and the dark cypresses and slender white minarets, one saw on the lower slope of the Sierra, framed by a higher slope which was entirely planted with roses, the white marble palace of Alzara. From the first to the last, it seems to have cost more than 30 million pounds, 120 million in our money. And the Spaniards have not left a stone upon a stone of it. Who are you riding with? Riding with dirt? Or are you riding with the Moorish way of life? What we could have if we acknowledge our birthright. But they don't want to acknowledge it. They want to play games. Just remember, their scholar told them, John G. Jackson told them, don't get mad at Moors. Don't debate Moors. You can care less. You can go in the background and just study. Don't need anything else but the library. The library and soap. That's all. That's all. Honest to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, the man who brought us back the nationality that we were missing for us to be a free people in our own jurisdiction, living according to the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Holy Covenant, look out for your brother, look out for your sister, look out your mother, look out for your aunt, look out for everybody who looks like you. Everybody who looks like you. Told us about the birthright, which is the creed, which is the Islamism, the divine and the national. The divine and the national, the two keys we were missing for our people to get back into who it is we really were. If you have any questions, put it in the chat. In all caps. And this is what it's supposed to be. All around the world. Moors with the Prophet up front and doing what Allah sent them here to do. And doing it under the divine principles. Love, truth, peace, freedom, justice. Once you do that, you shouldn't have any issues. That's all you need. Noble Drew Ali up front. And do what Allah sent you to do. Any questions at all, put them in the chat. Because this is your nationality and your birthright. This is your right at birth to be Allah in the flesh that they stole from you. They want you to be Negro, black, colored. No. It's time to be a law in the flesh now. So whatever you're called here to do, start putting that in motion. Whatever that is. Remember, you got Holy Covenant and principles. So there shouldn't be any issues. Should be no issues. Well, we tried to whatever, and then, because you didn't do it by one of the principles. That's why. That's why stuff didn't work. You try to do your own thing. Can't do your own thing. You follow the divine instructions. Once you follow the divine instructions, then you would see the outcome. Like in the Atta Chamber, they really push that these lessons are mystic arts, that you can say a line in the Quran that deals with a certain thing and then it'll do something right then. Like when they talk this stuff about Noble Drew Ali and crystal balls and all that stuff, like that's high priest stuff. That's not some Gargamel on the Smurfs or whatever like that. And it might be Gargamel. Even Gargam is an L. He knows more science. Because remember, he was dealing with the herbs and all that stuff, so he was a healer too. He brought everything for the Moors to take and save the nation. The blueprint's there. It's about Holy Covenant and the principles. If you're not willing to live by that Holy Covenant and to live by the principles, learn to love instead of hate. You're not doing this because we hate Europeans. Call them out, make them look like whatever. No, we made them be like that. They shouldn't have been living in that. You're not just supposed to just leave the dirty diaper on the baby. Yeah, we just leave the dirty diaper on. Who does that? That's what we did. That's why you have loose people doing that today. Because they're caught up in the European lost mindset, which means because we have melanin, the lost mindset that we're going to have is going to be way worse than a European talking about when they're living in Europe and people, there's a feces mountain. The feces mountain. Do you know where your brain has to go? Do you know where your brain has to go to turn off the smell? That you're just going to be in there living and it's not even nothing working. There's a mountain, a shit mountain that everybody just goes, throws their stuff on. Whatever it is, doesn't matter, it's going on this mountain. When you said Mac goes back to the Moors, did he mean in the MC or the MAC? MAC, MACK, all of it goes back to the Moors. Right. What's the disconnect with the Hebrew Israelite and Asiatic? The problem with the Hebrew Israelites is that they don't want to deal with the metaphysical realm, because when you deal with the metaphysical realm, then that gets rid of their Bible, and now they have no need to yell at anybody. So when we say metaphysical realm, we're talking about the 12 tribes are the 12 zodiac. That's just what it is. There's no 12 tribes of people that make up some whatever. No, the 12 tribes are really the zodiac. That's really what 12 tribe is, nothing else. If they can't get that, we know that they're not really the Hebrews, because they're not really dealing with the science. They're not dealing with the Kabbalah. I mean, they're not. Yeah, okay, yeah, they read Hebrew, but how come you're not dealing with the Kabbalah? How come you're not dealing with Solomon's seals and all that stuff? Because if you're going to say you're in that realm, then that's where you're supposed to be at. If you're going to have one of Solomon's seals, you don't tell me about the 99 other ones that we don't deal with those ones. We just deal with this one. Oh, no, it doesn't work like that. You jumped on that boat. You jacked somebody's stuff, try to pretend like it's yours. Well, we found out that that's not your stuff, Drew boys. That's not some Hebrew Israelite stuff. That's Saul Ans. That's metaphysic. That's as above, so below. That has nothing to do with some Jewish whatever. Nothing's thrown off. That's why on the zodiac, the signs overlap the months, and there's cusps and all that, because it has nothing to do with some paper somebody said there's numbers on there. That has nothing to do with, right? Like days of the week and all that stuff, that has nothing to do with anything. Right? This is the moon and the sun's relation and the planets. It's not, this day I have the appointment, so I'm going to go down to the whatever. If you didn't have that thing, you're still going to go have the appointments or whatever. Because you studied astrology. Which again, if this whole astrology stuff is happening on a disc with a dome on it, and then everything's inside that dome, you know what I mean? Like, stuff is crazy. The universe is supposed to be vast. Never been out there, but if all is mental, then the universe is vast. So when you look at all the different cultures, everybody comes back to the sun being in the middle and then everything else revolving around that, because that's the nucleus. And that's nature. That's so when that's why you would have astrologers. Right? That it'll be a disservice to put out like that the whole thing with the calendar and the days and because you also look at the days, the days of the months, and the days of the months in some cases were actual Moors. So is it even really a day of a month like that? Or is it something beyond our perception, which again goes back to this vastness? Now, you sit down with an astrologist, or astrologer, or a seer, or somebody who follows the stars like that, then that's how you move from the position, because you dealt with the scholar. You dealt with the professional in the profession that you're seeking information about. I'm not no professional astrologer or nothing like that. But I get it. I'm not absent-minded of it. Everything's altered. Everything. No, everything's altered. Nothing is as it seems. Just like they say, images in mirror may be closer than they appear. Right? This is your sojourn. You get reference points, fact check everything, and then you come to a conclusion. And conclusion is the same unless people are traitors or they're in denial. Conclusion is the same. It all goes back to knowing our nationality and who our ancient foremothers and forefathers were. And anything these people say, they're probably talking about us. They're probably talking about us. Dark skin, woolly hair people. And you know when you know them when you see them. They got on the silks and all that. Like, whoa, who's this guy? Who is this guy? They never look at a Hebrew Israelite like that. There's some guys yelling. Those are just black guys yelling. Angry black guys. They're just angry black guys. They haven't mastered the higher self yet. They're still mad. They're still mad at some Edomite. But don't want to accept the fact that they created the Edomite. So be mad at yourself. Yell at yourself. You're a dumbass. Went, had baby. You didn't like how the baby came out or whatever, so now you just abandon it and let it do whatever. And now he's Jason Voorhees about to murder everybody, and you're talking about, why are you doing that? Don't do it. No, you did it. It's your fault. So stop complaining. Stop crying. And get down with the program. Because like we said, there's no options. You're either going with the Moorish paradigm, or you're going with the European paradigm. And the European paradigm, I don't think you want to go there, even though a lot of our people are there already, in the physical and the mind. At least the ones with the mind not there, they have an escape. They can get out still. But if we get here as a people, right, as a people, all of us, no matter what we call ourselves, we put Moors on it. I came across something about ancient Anunnaki giants. What's that about if you have knowledge? Now, when they talk about giants, they're talking about dark-skinned people. There's no European giants. fee, fi, fo, fum, and all that stuff, Jack and the Beanstalk and all that stuff, it is what they're talking about. Like we say, the Angkor Wat temple has a head on it. That is a head. That's an actual head. That's not somebody looked like that. That's a head. The Olmec heads, those are heads. Who knows what they did with the bodies? Those are stuff buried up to their neck. When you go to people who went to Karnak and all those temples and they went over there, do you think that's size? Who's carving that? Somebody who's little like this is making something big like that? Really? Right? Like when they talk about elephant and woolly mammoth and whatever. Woolly mammoth is huge compared to an elephant. Dinosaurs and whatever. That's not illusion. If there's a tree big as whatever, there has to be, if there's a shark big as whatever, then there must be bigger ones. So don't get caught up in the hoopla. Oh my God, the giants. No, obviously there were giants. Obviously. Obviously there's aliens. This grand universe, all this and all that stuff. You can't see a telescope. You can't even see, you know what I mean? How big this thing is or whatever. And we're just the only ones here on Earth. That's it. Just us. Really? Just us. Just us. No one else. You know. Like on the hoopla. Those stories of the ancient god people and the whatever. It's not a big deal. Obviously, we were the gods of the planet. Obviously, we shot fireballs and stuff like that, and stuff was crazy. Right? Drawley talked about this stuff. It was the Moors who came in and calmed these beasts and stuff like that. Birds so big you can hear the wings flapping and all that. Like it was our ancient foremothers and forefathers, the giants, who tamed all these beasts, so that every beast right now is subordinate to man. No different than the thing with the European people play. You know, remember, we're the gods of the planet. We're not talking about some fiction. Right? Dinosaurs came from somewhere. That's the anomaly. Where is it? Right? Like, that was created. Who was that? Because Yakub, he's a low-level scientist. He just made some Europeans. That ain't nothing. Who's the dinosaur making people? You want to see them scientists. Because it always goes back to this whole concept that the gods and Earth is, you know, the little playground type of stuff. This is where the dummies are at. The souls who didn't want to be God. Oh, you don't want to be God? Okay. Yep. You will be a fiction down there. Have fun. See you in 80 years, depending on your life expectancy. You'll be right back up here. And we will tell you we told you so. We told you it sucks down there. You don't want to be there. You don't want to be a god of the universe. You want to be a black guy. You don't want to be high priest of Egypt. You want to be Pharaoh. Think you're somebody. You don't have the turban on and have the people call you prince and all that stuff. You want to call nigger. Entertainer guy. Just keep in mind that it's always talking about you. I don't care what they say. I don't care what they say. Anything they're talking about, you have something to do with that. Always and forever. You have something to do with it. Just like we read the paved streets and all that stuff in Seville or whatever. There's not some new stuff you're walking on the street today. That, oh yeah, the city of whatever gave me a street. No, they didn't. They took that stuff from the Moors. Street lights, irrigation. They took that stuff from the Moors. Right? Our problem is we want to be Europeans. We don't want to be Moors. Remember, if you're not Moors, you're European. There's no option for you. Well, I'm going to be... No, you don't have options. Are you a Moor or are you a modern European? I don't want to be a Moor because the Moors cut off people's hands in the Congo and... All right, then you're a modern European. Simple. Don't get mad when they force vaccinate you and all that stuff. Don't get mad that you didn't stock up enough food. Don't get mad that highwayman ran down on you and now you got issues with them. Don't get mad. Know that you probably weren't doing everything by the principles. Like Noble Drew Ali instructed. Once you don't go by what, don't get mad. Just realize what it is. Change the energy. Don't get caught in the hoopla. What's important is what your nationality. All the Anunnaki stuff like that ain't gonna stop these people from taxing you. Anunnaki stuff's not gonna stop these people from beating your ass if they catch you one-on-one. Dark alley. Or broad daylight. They don't like how you looked at them. And you're thinking, oh my gosh, these police, they're not police. They haven't been police around here for about 20 years. All these people are hired help. Under blanket bonds. So you can't bond foreigners. Serve and protect. Why would they? Why would they help anybody? They're getting a paycheck. What do they care? Once they get paid, hit their quota or whatever, that's that. That's hired help. That's security guards. But, our people don't want to know. They want to assume. So since they want to assume, none of this for them. None of this. They don't get to experience the Moorish honors. But it's an experience. Put on that fez for the first time, you go outside, it's an experience. Put on that turban for the first time, go places where you've been before, people treat you totally different when they know you know yourself. They treat you totally different. This is a right at birth. It's not some club. Join the club, become a Moor. We're Moors. And you're either that or you're a modern European. And if you're a modern European, then you better get your arm ready. See, they come. But I'm not European, I'm the black, whatever. Yeah, you're European. You're black, you're European. No, I mean black meaning the cosmic. Oh yeah, you're European. Took private route. No, there's no public and private. That's a fiction. Because the public and private is based in the debt system, which they cancel themselves out. The public is really the colonizer. The private is being a Moor. People playing games. The private is being a Moor. That's what the private is. The private that they have people think, oh, the private side of the ledger and all that BS, that's BS. The private side is you're a Moor. You're in your own land. You're Aboriginal Indigenous. That's private. You might do public things, but the venue itself is private. That's not anybody else. Just like China's jurisdiction is private. Nobody other than Chinese can talk for them, or would they let somebody talk for them? They talk for themselves. What's that based in? They're taking a national stance. So when they play those games with you about, the Republic, but you're a Moor and you're Aboriginal Indigenous, that if you're saying Republic and you're part of republics and all that stuff, you're European. That's Roman. Republic has nothing to do with Moors. To the point that it's ours or something like that. No, that's not our jurisdiction. We're Aboriginal Indigenous. What do we need a republic for? We're in our own land. Like we're in our land. I'm pretty sure we're in our land. Okay, so if I'm in my own land, if I'm in my own house, I need to section off part of the house to make that a republic. What do you mean? Why do I have to do that? And then if I am going to do that, that's what the temple's for. The temple was the state. That's what you're a citizen of. Because that was really your country. So you had a constitution and all that. That's the theocratic government. But people play games with you. Got you out of your own jurisdiction, have you in the dunghill jurisdiction, and then you're trying to figure out, well, I guess we could just buy this plot of land right here, and we can start building the black community right here because, we got the dunghill. No. That's not the perspective right there. If you have any more questions, put them in the chat. We're about to be off this. Honors to the Prophet Noble Jwali. Of course, light bulbs going off. Because the Moors talking. If everybody talked like Moors, everybody would be woke by now. But they don't want to talk like Moors. They want to talk like fictions. Because they know our people are dumb and gullible. But they also know they don't want to work. They want to sit on their ass and just rape their people. They want to put in any work. Just want to reap rewards. And they didn't do their job. But they're still reaping rewards and they didn't do their job. And then you're not strangling people. Everything's cool. Well, they just didn't tell me about my birthright. That's nothing. I'll get over it. Oh yeah? All right. It's a real deal. Think about it. Right, once a year. All the Hebrews, the Rastas, the Nation of Gods on Earth, the Nation of Islam, the Moorish Science Temple, the Moorish Nation, everybody get together, dress like Moors, and be ourselves for once to see how it'll feel. You're not gonna come with your red, black, green stuff waving and all that stuff. None of that BS. You're gonna get in here in your Moorish garb and be ourselves. As Moors, we shouldn't want anything to do with the fiction, but that bond will be attacked on my behalf. What bond? The birth certificate's a fiction. It's void ab initio. So if the birth certificate is a bond, but it's void ab initio, how is that worth something? How is somebody going to attack a bond that doesn't have any value unless your dumbass uses your birthright, goes and authenticates it, and then gives it the power? Now these people got stuff, bonds to use all over the world, but that's their stuff. That's their stuff. That's their stuff. Has nothing to do with you. Straw man has nothing to do with you. Birth certificates and all that stuff has nothing to do with you. Run that back. The bond that people say, go get the birth certificate and then you can authenticate it and then right? Okay. You go through this process of doing all this stuff, right? So you can be the secured party creditor and holder in due course or whatever, right? Because the straw man is what they're using to rule the world. So claim the straw man so that way they don't have an instrument to rule the world with. At the point of only the parents signing that, or only the mother, or only the whoever was there that said that they witnessed, at the time of that signing, leaving their hands and going into somebody else's hands, and something given to replace the thing that they gave in, right there, that's void ab initio. So if it's void ab initio, why they playing games as if they could claim something? That's like somebody running up to you, tell you, hey man, I got all these receipts, man. We've been using these as money. And you go to any store and then you can use this as money. And then you're taking them serious. Oh yeah? Oh wow. How much are these? 500. All right, let me go and get the 500 right here. So I could take these blank pieces of paper and I can use them at the store as money? Yeah, 500. Okay, and you give you 500 or whatever. And then you're going to the store to use blank paper as money. But your dumbass didn't think to ask him, well, how come I don't just give you blank paper? If blank paper is money. If blank paper is money, shouldn't I just be giving you, why am I giving you 500? Okay. Oh, so if it doesn't work like that, then how is it working like that with birth certificate? How's it working like that you're going to take this void instrument called the birth certificate, because it's already left the hands of the people who signed it, and it wasn't signed in front of them by the individual who's claiming that he got it now. And on top of that, they didn't give them a copy of the thing that they signed. They made a whole new instrument. And that's how you know that the collateral for the bond is the body. That's why you proclaim your nationality. So they're like, oh, what do you mean? Birth certificate. Oh no, I'm Moorish national. I have my ID right here. You know, rights of indigenous people have right to self-identify, especially to foreigner. It's all a game. Noble Drew Ali checkmated everybody. How come you didn't talk about birth certificates in Noble Drew Ali's time? Because nobody was going down to no damn European office to go give any papers. Nobody was going to any hospital or anything like that. You had a doula. What are you in the hospital for? Your horse is going to the hospital. Oh yeah, the horse. The water broke. Get the horse to the hospital. Horse can't get in the thing. You got to try to get it in the van. Please. It's a game. No, this is not, it's not a thing. Okay, let's put it like this. Let's put it like this. How much was the course? How much was the course to teach you how to do all this stuff? That's all we want to know. How much was the cost? The cost of the course. You said you took some course or something. What was the cost? Was the course free? Or did you pay something for the course? No, you know, if you're red, you would know about Noble Drew Ali. And you would know about Moorish nationality, and you wouldn't be even talking about claiming birth certificates if you were red, like how you say you're red. If you were red like that, then you would know that that's fraud if you're red. Because the birth certificate's a fraudulent contract. So if you're carrying on with the birth certificate, that means you're engaging in fraud. And if you're willingly engaging in fraud, what do you mean? What do you mean jurisdiction? You challenge in jurisdiction. What do you mean? You can't reap a benefit and then challenge jurisdiction. Maybe in your studied world. In the real world, That's fraud. So learned is being active, right? Being active. Right? And look how crazy that is. Or you could push the thing and come on here and talk about it. This is about your birthrights. It's not about some instrument, rectangle, some rectangle created by some European that's bonded. No, you know, if you ask no questions, you get no answers. But the answers are supposed to let you be able to go fact check. Not just, well, because I heard it on Canaanland Moors, that means it's right. Or I took this people's course and that means it's right. No, that means fact check. No, there's no using and there's no process. So this is why we're saying that there's individuals out here who present information that aren't qualified to present because all they do is confuse people. All they do is get people lost in jurisdictions where their mind's not even supposed to be there. Right? So when we talk about birthrights, right? When we talk about birthrights, you're talking about what you got from birth. So you have a right to air. You got that at birth. You have a right to that. Everything is like air when you're talking birthrights. If there's anything lacking and you don't have it like air, there's a problem that needs to be addressed immediately because somebody's violating your birthrights. There's no process to get that. That's what you have at birth. Now, what you're talking about, process, is because of Noble Drew Ali and him telling people Negro, black, colored, and not being that. So the process thing comes in from people claiming they don't want to be the birth certificate. So the process is you authenticate and then you whatever, then you come to our course or you watch our website or show our UD, we show you the paperwork, you go to the IRS and then you send them the paper and then you send that one in and then when you send that one, then they're going to give you this and then you're going to be the holder of the bond and whatever. No, it's not. It ain't going like that. That's a fiction. The idea of the process comes from individuals who are opportunists and they know people are dumb and they could tell them anything and they're going to go with it. And they'll give them any price and they're going to pay. Those are opportunists. Those people are why people are confused about what it is to be a Moor. Because they went to one of these people's things and now they're confused. If they didn't go there, they wouldn't be having issues. But again, the mindset of our people is that they only want to talk to Moors when they got problems. When everything's good and everybody's, got the money, gun and all that stuff, nobody's not talking to the Moors. But as soon as tax time and now people are talking about red letters and stuff like that, now they want to call the Moors. Yeah, but if it's your turn, if you're gonna say, well, because they're running fraud, I'm gonna run fraud, then you're just as fraud as them now. You're just as fraud as them if you're doing the stuff that they're doing, opposed to doing what was instructed of you to do. Proclaim your nationality if you don't do anything else. After you proclaim your nationality, do all new business in your free national name. Don't do it in your own name, because the old name is what it is. That's where it's at. Anything new, you're doing in your free name. Anything you've been doing that's not new stays in the old name. Again, going back to the private side and the public side. The public side is straw man, whatever. The private side is you being a Moor. The public side is Negro, black, colored, degree, job, The Moorish side is self-sufficiency, self-discipline, self-realization, self. The divine and the national. There's always going to be levels. Find your spot and let's get some work done. Like I said, there's enough work to be done. There's not supposed to be 10 people doing all the work. If we spread the work evenly amongst everybody, we should get this stuff done tomorrow. Everybody knows their job they're supposed to do or whatever. Okay, we get stuff done tomorrow. Now if tomorrow comes and, people want to get up late and, oh yeah, I gotta take the car to the, so yeah, but we're supposed to, today's the Save the Nation Day. Yeah, well, something came up, so yeah, but today's the day. Like, all we have to do is, and the nation saved. Well, I have to go figure out. All right. My nationality says American on my passport. Different name, not all caps. But I sure am in due course of the bond. A passport is for products. A passport, an instrument to go past the port. An instrument to go past the port. It's not for indigenous people. Why? Because that's your port. You need a passport to pass your own port. And there's no my passport, my license, my whatever. That's not yours. You went to some office and then you picked something off a wall and signed something and then they gave you that. And on it says property of not yours. You say mine. Isn't that criminal? You're claiming something that's not yours? Only thieves do that. Only thieves do that. A good example we use, instead of looking at it like 1 foot in, 1 foot out or whatever, look at it like a jacket or a pair of shoes. A utensil. I'm going to use that every day. Well, when you have to use it, you use it. Because you're under occupation. So, the occupier has say, because, you didn't listen to your ancient foremothers and forefathers. You want to be Negro, black, colored people. Now we're paying for it. No, it doesn't matter. You could have 20 stars on it. That's not yours. If you have a passport as a Moor, you're saying you're foreign. Because why would you have a passport? Why would you have something that looks like a passport that you're claiming is yours when you're in your own land? I'm in my own land, so I need a passport to go past the port, which is my port. I'm going to show myself. I'm going to be in the booth and I'm going to show myself the passport to pass the port. No, the U.S. knows that they're a foreigner. They don't deny they're a foreigner. They know they got permission from Morocco to be over here. They don't argue that. Only our people argue that. They know where their authority comes from. They're aware it was the Moors. If you got 25 stars on the passport, and it's a Moorish passport, or a U.S. passport, or a national citizen passport, or a national of the Republic of whatever passport, if it's a passport, why? You're in your own land. Simple as that. You're in your own land. Why do I need a license in my own land? Especially a license from a foreigner. Like, why do I need that? Like, why can't I, as somebody indigenous, have an indigenous version? Why do I need theirs? Right. They don't need some passport to know that this is your land. They already know what's up. Our problem is we don't know. And we think that they don't know, and we got to prove something to them. So I'm going to get the whatever, and then this is going to prove to them that I'm whatever. No, it's not. They already know what's up. You're looking crazy right now to them. You obviously don't know what's going on. If you're looking at them as some type of authority of, well, they know that I'm whatever because I gave them the thing with the 5 stars on it. No. They've been known. Before you came out the womb, they knew. Yeah, if you're in the United States, Constitution says you have a right to bear arms. That ain't got nationality. You have that right. Negroes can't play that stuff. You have to have their license from Massa and all that. No, why would you even be engaging them? Like, I don't know who highwaymen are. Like, I don't know them. Like, they're not in my cipher whatsoever. At all. Unless I have to send them a writ or something, they're not even on my mind. I don't even see those people. They're not even... Jwali already said you don't need to show them anything. Stop flashing your card at Europeans. Causes confusion. Because you really have to check yourself. Why is it that your card even has to be coming out? What did you do to make this European foreign mercenary have to be in your face right now asking about ID and whatever. What do you do? Like, what do? You have to do something. You do something niggerish for them to say, hey, let's go bother that Moor over there. We're not going to deal with any of our property. People could be robbing liquor stores and stuff like that right now. We're not worried about them. We want to know where this Moor's license is. Why are they even coming up? Right? Because they're probably doing some nigger stuff that you shouldn't have been doing in the first place, which is why here they are, bothering you. That's just what it is. Don't get mad. Study the lessons and prove it wrong. Prove it wrong. Or you could prove it wrong. I'm my ancient foremothers and forefathers. I've been everywhere. So you can't be anywhere I've never been. I've been everywhere. We ride with the prophet and that's it. We don't ride with processes. We don't ride with fake flags. We don't ride with fake passports. We don't ride with fake plates and just BS having to do with the Moorish movement. We ride with saving people's lives. We ride with uplifting our people. We ride with inspiring our people. Because this is not just some live thing. Like there's Moors here that after this, there's still Moors when this live thing goes off. There's still going to be Bays and L's and Days and Ali's and Al's. After this is done. When you're going to go be nigger or whatever, or you're going to go be Christian or pastor or whoever, or you're going to go be whatever. There's people on here who they're going to go be Moors. They're not just a name on a... They actually are that. That's not a fake name that they have on there. That's actually who they are. So after this, they're going to be that. Right? We know you're not 1441122. We know that's not who you are. That's a fiction. Like what's 1441112? What's that? Like, what is that? Like, how do you come up with that as this is who I'm going to be on Instagram? No, but your thing saying like 1441112. I'm just making the point. Right? If you've been traveling for 500 years, showing whatever document you've been showing, and then the 501st year you find out about Moorish nationality, how are you going to travel? If you didn't have a license for 50 years, if you didn't have a license for 50 years because it was expired and you never went to the office to go get it renewed or whatever, and then you find out about Moorish nationality in the 51st year, what you need a right to travel card for? Were you just doing right to travel for the past 50 years? So you're doing right to travel the past 50 years with an expired license. So the license expired, and then for 50 years you didn't get it renewed. Then the 51st year, You find about Moorish nationality, and then you're asking, so how do I right to travel? How we get messed up is we keep involving the foreigner in our thoughts. Like they always incept their way in our thought when we start talking about exercising who we are. Because like we said, if the ID is not you, it doesn't matter what you show at the thing. Doesn't matter what you show. If you show your nationality card and they let you through, doesn't mean anything. It means that's what they're supposed to do. Right? Honest to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, the man. Peace and love to all the Moors. Oh yeah, no question's a dumb question. All questions are good. Somebody's gonna learn from them. Peace and love to all the Moors worldwide. Keep studying. A lot of information out there. No more than you knew yesterday. Keep supporting the real. Keep supporting the real. Stop supporting the clowns. People who you know you shouldn't be supporting. Stop supporting them. And support the real. Honors to all Moors worldwide. Honors to all the mothers everywhere. So when you apply for a job, how do you go about it? So because I have experience of going to a job, getting the job, putting them on notice of my status, and then given a check and fired from the job, I know that corporations could only hire corporations. So if I'm going to be, quote unquote, getting a job, then I'm going to have a corporation that I'm going to use in order to apply for that job, because corporations could only hire corporations. And if corporations hire indigenous people, ain't too long before they fire them, because they're not going to keep paying these people's taxes. Eventually, they're going to say, forget this, we're tired paying your taxes. But somebody's got to pay the taxes if they hired somebody. And then you have the corporation, and then you use the corporation to go get the job. He's talking about job, right? You're talking about occupation, or go to school, learn something, apply, whatever, okay. Now what really should be going on is that all those companies that we had all those companies that we had in the 1920s would have been like Walmart and that stuff right now. And everybody would have store. And everybody would be Moor. So when you go there, you could show your Moorish nationality card as ID. Because you're going to a Moor to go get your occupation, profession. You're part of the carpenters union, electrical union, or whatever like that. Okay, well, everything's Moorish from top to bottom. Everybody's in there with fezzes on and all that stuff. Ain't no Negro, black, colored BS going on. Oh, you want to be PSW? Well, the African crosses with Garvey and the Women's Auxiliary, and then there's the Moorish Hospital. And then you'll be going there for your occupation, your profession. You'll be going to these foreigners. So you'll be able to show your nationality card as identification for a job. Because a Moor is going to hire you. Right? And again, once you start playing this game with them, all you're doing is creating more fictions. EIN is a fiction. Now, fiction created a fiction. And fiction created a fiction. Because guaranteed, every one of these forms that you're talking about, they're talking about print here. What do you think print here means? Print here is that no matter what you write here, when it goes in the computer, it's coming out in all caps. And that's a fiction. You know? The biggest lesson that majority of people who are playing the process thing violates, the biggest lesson they violate is the contract law lesson and how you're supposed to deal with contracts. These people are foreigners. Why are you even contracting with them for an EIN number? They're a foreigner. How do they have the authority to give you a number, an employee identification number, in your own land? Shouldn't you be the one giving the numbers? There's already a corporation you're not liable for. It's the name on the birth certificate. That's, if you learn how to live within contracts, you reserve your rights anytime you're using that. And now that becomes the EIN number. Instead of you creating a new one now you're doing all this activity in the new one, thinking that the energy of it isn't going back to the birth certificate. Remember, all of them are fraud. So they're attaching different numbers to different stuff and all that. They don't care. They don't care. And let's just say there is some process, quote unquote, that works or whatever. Whoever figured out the process that works should have told everybody for free that it works, so everybody could do the process and everybody could live comfortable and free and not have no issues or whatever like that. As soon as they talk about 1,200, 1,500, we'll show you how to do the process. Know that somebody's playing games with you. They have to be playing games at this point. The system does not serve you. The system serves itself. You're now a peg in the wheel of the system. Opposed to recognizing you have your own system. You're Aboriginal and Indigenous. Right? Our people love stuff advanced, not simple. They love stuff advanced. They don't just cut up some ginger, make some tea. They want to go and talk to the physician because, well, Sign on the news. All right. Uninstall. Study, study, study. Don't give up the fight. Stay true to the cause. And make sure you keep the prophet up front. Make sure you keep him up front. Peace and love to all the Moors. Islam.